defended itself over claims by the opposition that it used excessive force in handling protesters on Monday. The Inspector General of Police, Japhet Koome, says his officers instead exercised great restraint in dispersing the demonstrators and protecting people and property in Nairobi and Kisumu cities. Brenda Wanga now reports.
As the dust settles from the demonstrations and the sting of the tear gas dissipates from the air in cities and towns where the Azimio demonstrations took place, the blame game over who was responsible for the chaos in the two cities has also begun. Azimio maintaining that the police overstepped their mandate as Kenya Kwanza heaped nothing but praise for the actions of the law enforcement agencies and their response.
What we have decided to do as a coalition is to identify individual police officers who must then bear responsibility for their acts and omissions.
And as we commend the police for the very good work that they did yesterday, we want to ask them today that they must hold people to account.
The Police Inspector General, Japhet Koome, coming to the defense of his charges over how they handled the demonstrations in parts of the country, saying his officers were targeted by the demonstrators. The IG, in a statement, not only terms the demonstrations illegal, but also says, and I quote, "The unwarranted day-long standoff in Nairobi and Kisumu amounted to violence against police and economic sabotage," end of quote. The police were also accused of excessive use of force as they sought to disperse the demonstrations in Nairobi and Kisumu. However, the IG says the police only used what he terms as gradual force, beginning with what he says was show-off force, which was then barely reinforced by water cannons and tear gas canisters. According to the police, these actions were necessary as the police sought to prevent the protesters from accessing the central business districts of Nairobi and Kisumu, as well as protected areas in those two cities. The police say while the mass action had been called to allegedly protest against the high cost of living, its real intent was the invasion of State House. The police also sounding a warning against further demonstrations, cautioning that no one in the country was above the law and asking those seeking to demonstrate to observe what Koome says is the slippery slope between the freedom of assembly, picketing and petitioning and the blatant infringement of others' rights. The National Police Service, however, says it is open to both internal and external investigations into its conduct on Monday, an invitation that has already been picked up by the IPOA. The oversight body, while lauding the police for operating with restraint and within the confines of the law, says it has launched a probe into the incidences of violence that resulted in the death and injury of a student, a protester, and police officers on duty on Monday. A total of 31 police officers were injured in Nairobi and Kisumu, while 10 police vehicles were damaged and 238 people arrested in Monday's demonstrations. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV, Nairobi.